Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion. Now, I have with me Amber, or aka Canadian Gamer Girl, or aka Amber's Playhouse. Amber, why don't you say hello to everyone?
Hi, I'm back again.
Nice. Alright, guys, so we were just doing a Walking Dead video, and Amber brought up something that kind of gave me an idea of, I guess, like what this video is, or just the general topic of it, and that is basically, will Trunks and Mai last as a couple? I know
Dun dun
because
dun.
because in the last episode we saw them kind of go away. We know that they're gonna go live their happy life together, but there's some legitimate like stark differences to them that might hinder their relationship going forward. And I'm not gonna take up a whole lot of this video. I want Amber because she was the one kind of talking about it. Amber, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, well, I'm gonna be frank. The very first, was it the first episode of the art? No, I guess it was the second. Um, I didn't really like Mai when I first saw her. The first episode, she wasn't really in it all that much. So the first episode of the arc, I mean. So I couldn't really say anything about her, but like the first few episodes, I was kind of like meh. Like I never even liked her in Dragon Ball, so I mean it was kind of a given. But as the show progressed or the arc progressed, I started to like her more and more. And then when they were kind of throwing in the whole connection between Trunks and Maya, was like, I don't really know if I want to see her with Trunks. I mean, partly because I love Trunks and I
Mm-hmm.
want to marry him, but we won't talk about that. But no, honestly, as the arc as the arc went on, she actually started to grow on me. So this is where I'm conflicted though, because okay, I want them to work out because let's face it, Trunks' life has been shit ever since he was little. I mean, he didn't have Vegeta, he lost Gohan, he lost basically everybody he knew. The only person he had left was Bulma, and then up until this arc, boom, the first episode of the arc, Bulma gets killed. Well, future Bulma, I should say. And then he basically had no one. Like Mai was really the only person he had until he went back to the present with Vegeta and Goku from there. But I'm rooting for him because I want him to have a happy ending. I want him to have somebody romantically, but there's certain things that I don't feel like it's going to last between them. One being I am going to put out there the age. I still think it's really weird. Like I know she's in a younger body, but she's still technically an old woman. Like she's in her 60s, right? So I feel like down the road it's going to kind of I don't know, maybe certain things she'll say that will like come back to her from being like just things she'll remember from being an older lady or something. Or even I'll go as far to say maybe something happens in the bedroom where like she breaks a hip.
I don't know about that.
She just starts
Look,
to
she's still
deteriorate.
technically a young body.
Starts wearing off. It's like, well, I guess the Dragon Ball's fucked up. I don't know. I don't know. They're just, and the personality kind of throws me off too. Like, I know they seem like really, I don't want to say lovey-dovey because they haven't really shown anything besides like, they show them glancing at each other or like, spoilers if you guys haven't watched the the last episode, but they had a little moment there where they were like hugging each other. But other than that, like, we haven't really seen them be like obviously we haven't seen them kiss or anything, so it's like I don't know like if they could really have an intimate relationship. I mean, I'm all for it. Like I said, I wish them all the best, but I don't know. I feel like if they started living together, maybe they'd find there's some differences they really don't like about each other.
Well, okay, personally, like if you ask me, the one thing that would like really stick out with this is the fact that they met, grew up, or grew up with each other, or not necessarily grown up. You know what I mean by that? Like they were kind of in this dire situation together. That's when they met. That's when they kind of grew together and grew feelings for each other, if that's what they have, and that's what they're going to start developing when they go back to the future timeline. Personally, like that in and of itself is something that would, in my opinion, probably hinder their relationship in general. Like they have they had like common entity that brought them together, in which not only were they fighting in order to save like the Earth, and like obviously Mai knew Trunks' importance, and Trunks knew Mai's importance in that entire arc, but now that threat is gone, and I know they have another challenge of trying to put their world back together and everything, but at that point, like, I'm just thinking, like, when you go together, when you come together with someone in that type of a situation, and then everything basically calms down, and then you can actually have a life together, it's not the same level of adrenaline, it's not the same circumstances that brought you together, and then something might feel like it's missing. Personally, like, and also to put it in a way more blunt way, this might be something, it might be love, it might be something where it's just like they just gotta fuck each other, and then they'll like have it out of their system, and they won't
Yeah,
necessarily like
exactly.
each other anymore, or not want
I'm
to be
done
with
with
each
you.
other.
Bye.
Like, I'm just saying, like, the one thing is, like you were saying, is there's obviously like a mental age gap there that's going to hinder them from being, obviously, like, Trunks mentally at this point, with what he's gone through, he's probably like has the mind of a much older man than he is, but we don't necessarily know exactly how he acts in peacetime. He might be like, fuck it, I fought really hard, I deserve just to be myself and have fun and everything, and she's like acting like an old woman, like her younger counterpart is, the way that Bulma's sitting there going like, you talk like an older woman, or peel off her shoe, or so you talk like you're older. And the one thing we haven't seen with Mai and his timeline is the fact that that's a weird disconnect. I mean, why is her younger self acting like so old, and her future self, who should be even older, acting as if she's like in relationship and in the same mindset as Trunks? Like, she should look at things as if she was like 100-year-old
Yeah.
woman
Well,
at this
that's what I mean
point.
about like the deterioration, right? Like, give it a few years down the road, maybe for some reason, whatever wish she wished for comes undone slowly, or whatever, and she starts to realize like, hey, I'm with this kid that's like friggin', say he's like 40 at the time, and she's like 200 years old. And she's like, wait, what am I doing? Not only that, but I think like the interest is a big deal too. Like, really, when you think about it, they haven't really spent a whole lot of time together doing anything else besides fighting and trying to, uphold the universe or the timeline. So I'm thinking like, okay, so when peace comes along, what do they have in common? Do they like the same TV shows? Do they have the same hobbies? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's true. Like, Mai's like a technical girl. That's what she was in Dragon Ball. We've never seen Trunks be like that. At least not that I can
it
think
almost makes
of.
me think it's the same type of relationship with like Bulma and Vegeta. Like, Bulma is a genius, she's tech savvy, whatever. She loves pulling things apart, putting them back together, inventing things. And then you have Vegeta, who basically all he does is train all the fucking time.
Which is
Yeah,
probably
like
what
he
Trunks
eats,
is gonna
sleeps, and
do now that
trains,
he
and that's
knows,
it.
like,
Wants to get better than Goku. So it's like,
maybe. But okay, but how does that work? Like, okay, that works for Bulma and Vegeta because they basically just leave each other alone. But Mai and Trunks aren't necessarily um that way. Like, they're not gonna just leave each other alone. Would that deteriorate or make stronger Bulma and Vegeta's relationship, you think? Or in this case, Mai and Trunks?
I don't know, I guess it would. Because Trunks isn't. I mean, obviously he's like Vegeta in certain ways, but he's not his father. You know what I mean? Like, they're not the same
Yeah.
person. Trunks is very,
Yeah.
lighthearted, always wants to help people, is always worried about, as we saw in the arc, he's always worried about the kids, he's always worried about somebody else. And Vegeta's gotten better at that in Super, but he's always been the type where like, me, I come first. Like, fuck everybody else. If I don't get my way, then I'm gonna throw a tantrum because nobody's better than me, sort of thing, right? Whereas Trunks, on the other hand, like I said, all he worries about is other people's well-being before his own.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not the same in that
But
sense. So I
but
feel
that's
like their relationship would strengthen in that sense because he'd always be worried about, do you have enough to eat? Are you sleeping well? Like, and I feel like he'd be the type in a
So he's gonna be
relationship
like
where
Gohan.
like she'd feel like something's wrong, and right away he'd be like, "No, there's nothing wrong. We can talk about it. We can talk this out. Let's have a cup of tea and calm down."
Let's have some cat food and
Just
calm
make
down.
sure the tea's not green, whatever you do.
But yeah, it's like, I understand that, and I think Mai is that way too. So maybe they will get along in that sense. But my point being that, if Bulma and Vegeta work, it's because they kind of leave each other alone because they're both very dominating personalities. And the same kind of can be said for Trunks and Mai, although, like you said, they're both very caring, so they might like just grapple onto that and make their relationship that much stronger. But at the same time, like they're both dominating personalities. Trunks is the most non-bullshit person we've ever met in the entire series. Like he doesn't take anyone fucking around. Like he has to get shit done. Mai's the same way. And that's one thing that could really cause some problems with their relationship going forward, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I know there's something about two stubborn people being together. Like you can even take it from real life couples that like if you have two people that are headstrong and I gotta be right, and then the other person's like, no, I gotta be right. It's like, oh, when they clash, the world just shakes. Shit's about to go down.
Exactly. It's like they no one will give up in that situation, that argument, and that's something that's something they're gonna have to deal with because like we talked about, like he talked about, and like I was saying, like they came together under very dire, very unique circumstances. They've never gotten a chance to
That's
know
what I
each
mean.
other.
Yeah, like have they really ever sat down and had a cup of coffee together and just talked about life? Like I don't think so.
They talked
Yeah,
about how they're gonna
that's about
stop
it.
black and like
They shared some cat food and
and how the
that
time
was
machines.
that.
It's like, so how's the time machine going? How many? It's like, talk about the last woman on Earth type of situation. It's like there's like
Well,
barely
yeah.
anyone left. Like
Well,
very limited options and not a lot of fish left in the sea.
now
If you
I
get what
kind
I
of
mean.
wonder though because the whole like Zeno bringing back his timeline, it makes me wonder like how far did he bring it back? Like maybe every single
Yeah,
person that Black killed is back again. You know what I mean? Like maybe his whole world
yeah,
is whole once again. So maybe there is like 50 million girls out
yeah.
there now. So I mean, if things don't work out with
Yeah,
Mai,
like
see you later.
yeah, it's like like they can be whatever they want. At that point, they can do and be whatever they want, and
Maybe they just become
yeah,
friends. Who knows?
it's hard to say.
That could possibly be.
I mean, yeah, they haven't even like succumbed to any kind of. I guess like at the same time they were, besides Bulma and Yamcha, they were probably the closest that we saw, like the most lovey-dovey couple that we saw in the entire series. But I don't know, like I feel like I'm not sure they're going to their relationship's going to survive, if you ask me.
I'd have to disagree on that note because I was gonna say Gohan and Videl have been pretty lovey-dovey. But other than
Sure,
them,
sure,
yeah,
but
it's
like I feel like it's not gonna. The one thing that was always weird to me about this, and I guess is the last point I have to make, is the fact that Mai and Trunks came together under these dire circumstances in the Future Trunks timeline, and then Mai and Trunks, Kid Trunks, in the main timeline are just basically together for no reason at all. And they're playing up this whole like it's destined to be, but that's not how like time travel or histories work in that situation. So like, and the Dragon Ball mythology. So it's like it seems really weird. I know they just used it to play off the fact that like these two belong together, and we want you to know that. Like we want to keep punching you in the face with like these two belong
well,
together.
that's what I feel like. Like they're just putting them together for the sake of because their future counterparts are together. They're like, well, how we might as well make their younger counterparts kind of have a love interest towards each other as well. It's like, okay, seriously, Trunks is like freaking 8. He doesn't know what love is, okay? His mom probably still changes his diapers.
He's he's gonna like I tell you this, we'll get a bigger sense of whether they belong together, or Trunks just felt like he was being cock blocked or whatever. Like his affections for younger Mai was just basically because he was jealous of his older self or something. Like we're gonna get a sense. I'm gonna say this: if in future arcs they just completely forget about this Trunks Mai relationship for the younger versions, like we don't get any sense of it. My example is they're just completely not a relationship at all. That
Well,
relationship
that's
is
what I was gonna
doomed.
say. Like, I feel like the next arc or two, they're just gonna kind of like forget, like, lay it by the wayside and be like, what relationship? Like, they won't even acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Like, Trunks will totally forget about it. Mai will go off and do her own thing, and it's like they did it for the sake of the arc.
Yeah.
Like there's no real meat to it.
Yeah. And that's my point. Like it was cute for the arc. You think about like all this, like, oh, Future Trunks is gonna have all this like awesome, like he's going to have a love interest now. He's the only Saiyan who we've ever seen without a love interest, like in any form of any of the manga or anything. Everyone, like at least all the males, like Pan never really had a love interest. Kind of, I guess she had a date going on in GT, but anyway, like. But my point is, like, Trunks never had anything, so I guess now he has something. But my opinion is, this relationship's
It's
doomed
doomed from the get-go.
It's doomed from the get-go. I don't see anything. I don't see anything coming in and like us getting like any confirmation of any kids or anything. They're gonna go back and Zeno's changed the timeline or fixed it or whatever, and they're going to grow tired of each other because of the age difference, because of the way they met, and they're going to realize that they don't have much in common, and it was just an attraction thing.
Kind of like the end of the world. You're the only person left, so I have to be with you.
Oh yeah, like it exactly. And I mean, that's just my thought. Anyone listening to this, what are your thoughts on, like, what do you think Trunks and Mai, what do you think of their relationship? Do you think it's going to stand the test of time? Do you think we'll ever get any real confirmation of whether that's actually something that's going on? I mean, hell, maybe one of the next episodes will just like pop over there and we'll see like them have kids or something, and they'll blow this all out of the water. But I personally think no. Amber, what are your last thoughts?
I mean, I love Trunks. You guys know he's my favorite character after Vegeta. So I really hope he has whether it's with Mai or whether it's with another girl, I wish him all the best. I mean, I wish he didn't have to go, but because I hate Kid Trunks. I'm just putting it out there. I don't really care for him. I never did. I always liked Future Trunks better, but I pray for you, Trunks. I hope you find a good happy ending and a good woman to have a family and die of old age together and all that good stuff. Forever alone.
Go have that dinner. Go have that dinner with Bulma and everyone, yeah. But yeah, anyway, guys, we're gonna leave it at that. Make sure to tell us what y'all think about this in the comment section below. Do you think Trunks and Mai are gonna make it? Do you feel like Trunks deserves to be with someone else? Or, whatever y'all want to just talk about. Anything y'all want to talk about, basically. Anyone you want to ship, put together, or anything with Trunks or anyone else, just let us know in the comment section below, and we'll make sure to read them. Please, if you haven't already, please make sure to go check out Amber and her channel. She makes some really awesome content, also covers Dragon Ball Super and a couple other animes and everything else. You will not be disappointed with those, like, subscribing to her. At least go check her out. Show her some love. Anyway, Amber, thank you so much for joining me.
Great topic.
Anyway, guys,
Bye.
we're going to catch you on the next video. Bye.